I get that. I think that applies really well to the whole spectrum of life in general. Like when I first got into typology and I got my type back, I was super excited about all the parts and learning all this about personality and how I can apply it. And then you kind of realize, and this is what Dave and Shannon from Objective Personality preach a lot, is that there's these certain tenets that you live by that make your life successful or make your life satisfying that don't really necessarily have to do with typology. But in retrospect, you can look back and see like, oh, it was because I was this type and I moved towards covering my voids that I was leaving that I made my life better in that way. So Josh, I was just curious. I wanted to know with you and Alex and just considering typology, because you're both in the typology community, what would you say is like the biggest aspect that you can inject about personality that makes your relationship work?
I think as I get older, I'm learning that knowledge doesn't mean emotions. Let me explain what I mean. It helps in the sense that I can understand what's happening, but in the moments, our functions still kind of don't care because we still think things should be a certain way. Like so for example, if she's being over logical and not showing emotional support, then, you know, it still does sting a little, even though I understand that's what her function should be doing, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So I would say it helps more after the fact, but it still does help because it helps when I'm processing after the fact for future events, if that makes sense. But in the moments, it's still tough here and there.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing right now is almost like the fact that you're both sort of growth mindset and you're both on a similar path in life is more of a factor in the success of your relationship rather than whatever typological aspects there are to your personality.
Oh God, yeah. Because we're very honest with ourselves and each other in the sense of we're always taking accountability and responsibility for whatever happens.
Not blaming.
Yeah, we're getting pretty good at the not blame thing. She's getting really good at it. And so it's like, and when I blame her, then she's just like, yeah, it's my fault. No, I'm just playing. I don't blame her, but that's all right. But yeah, so I think that the growth is very important because to me, I think two reasons why it's an important foundation for relationship. One, we all have the variety need, whether it's NESE, right? The OE need. And I think things get boring, but if somebody's consistently changing, then I think that you can keep evolving and that person can stay interesting for life. Okay, if that makes sense, because she's not who she was 6 months ago. She's definitely not who she was 2 years ago or a couple of years ago when I met her. She's constantly changing. So I meet a new Alex every few weeks or few months or every day, really.
Yeah.
And that I think that satisfies that OE need. You know, so I think that's, if you don't want to get bored in your relationship or have your spouse bored, I think you better get into growth. Just my 2 cents, but I'm biased. You know.